Good morning and welcome to the Dallas Download. I'm Kayla and this is a show where we talk entertainment and lifestyle. We've got local stories, helpful tips, and a few surprises along the way. This week we've got this.
So a laptop used to be a luxury and now it really is like an everyday learning essential.
We had completed the movie. They did the post-production process. It's testing really well. And then Warner Brothers comes in and just says, nope, we're gonna just throw this movie in the garbage can. Nobody's gonna ever see it. And we're gonna take a tax right off.
All that and more right here on the Dallas Download.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to turn a classic story into something that feels fresh for a new generation? A Woman of Substance tells a story of Emma Harte, a woman who rises from humble beginnings to become one of the most powerful business figures of the 20th century. So joining us today are Jessica Reynolds and Brenda Blethyn, who play Emma at different stages of her remarkable life. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Yeah,
good,
thank you.
All right, so for viewers who may not know the story, what is it about Emma Harte that has made a Woman of Substance such an enduring character for generations?
Well, it's a wonderful story of rags to riches, really, in a nutshell. A woman who rises from poverty against all the odds to become the richest woman in the world. And she's driven by a sense of justice and to get revenge on people who did her wrong.
What she said.
And Jessica, we first meet Emma as a young woman with enormous ambition. What drew you to her, and what was the biggest challenge in bringing that version of Emma to life?
I think it's just such an inspiring story, and to have a period piece that is also from a working class woman's perspective is quite rare, and to see her kind of grow and evolve into this larger than life version of herself, you know, like I can't imagine her ambitions were to be the richest woman in the world, but it happened for her. And I think that's because of the traumatic background and the difficult background that she comes from, and it just shows the strength of those communities and people from those backgrounds. So that was very alluring, yeah.
And Brenda, you play Emma after she's built this incredible empire. What do you enjoy most about stepping into such an iconic role?
The costumes, the makeup. After playing DCI Vera Stanhope for 14 years, it's quite nice to get out of the Mac and the hat and the grotty old house she lived in. But she's such an iconic character, and some people would say not particularly sympathetic. I often play sympathetic characters, so this was a bit of a diversion for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Even though you two are playing the same character at different ages, what conversations did the two of you have to make sure Emma felt like the same person throughout her journey?
Zero.
Okay.
I think like that there's such a distance between them, not only in age but also in experience. Like I think one of the biggest points is that she becomes a completely different person, and it's up for the audience to decide whether that's for the better or not.
And Emma refuses to accept the limitations society places on her. Why do you think her story still resonates with audiences today?
Because there's still a bit of a discrepancy between, equal wages between men and women. I bet a female engineer doesn't get as much as a male engineer, and in lots of professions there's not equality, and there should be.
Hey, I want to thank you two for joining me today. A Woman of Substance is now available on BritBox. For more information and to learn more about the series, visit BritBox.com. Jessica, Brenda, I really want to thank you two for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After decades of getting blown up, flattened, and generally destroyed by Acme products, Wile E. Coyote is finally doing something about it. He's suing. Coyote versus Acme takes that wonderfully ridiculous idea and turns it into a live-action courtroom comedy with a surprising amount of heart. Will Forte and Lana Condor join us now. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Thank you. And by the way, it's great to talk to you because we made this movie in Albuquerque.
That's right.
Yes, it's an Albuquerque film. I've been waiting and wanting to see this. When somebody first told you about Wile E. Coyote suing Acme, what was your reaction?
I thought it was
brilliant.
hysterical.
Yeah.
It's really funny. this was a New Yorker piece. I believe his name is Ian Fraser, wrote this back in the 90s, I think. And so, it's been kicking around for a while, and then finally people wrote it up. So it's comes from this incredibly funny writer, and then adapted by this amazing Oscar-nominated writer, Sammy Birch. And by the time we got it, it was just this wonderful script that was like, oh my God, but do we get to be in this movie? It was a no-brainer. Just so fun.
And you spend so much of the time playing opposite Wile E. Coyote, and he doesn't talk. So it turned into a pretty long monologue, my friend. How do you make an animated coyote feel like a real scene partner?
Well, we were really set up for success. Our production, our director, Dave Green, he brought in Dave Barkley, who is an iconic puppet master, and so he built a live action to scale Coyote, and then he would go in as Coyote and he would puppet Coyote through the scenes when we were rehearsing, so we could get a general sense of where he was in the room, kind of how he was feeling, and then they would pull the puppet away and they would put in tennis balls, and that's kind of how we filmed. That's kind of how we filmed our interactions with Wile E. And to be honest, like having that resource of Dave Barkley and having him there and being so great at his job and being so great at being Wile E, that changed a lot for me. Like it was very valuable for me.
Yeah, he really brought the scene to life and made it much easier than you would think.
Yeah.
And this movie has its own kind of specific kind of comedy, especially because it takes place in the Looney Tunes world. What was your key to finding your position in that place?
Well, look, I mean, for me, it was easy because I was a big Looney Tunes fan growing up, and I would watch it on Saturdays and every day after school. So like that mindset, in a lot of ways, that helped shape my comedic sensibilities. And Sammy, the screenwriter, and Dave, the director, stayed very true to the Looney Tunes tone. You know, so I think that Looney Tunes fans are going to be very happy with how these characters are portrayed, and it's just like it's really fun. So, but the script is written in such a way that like it is pretty laid out. She does a very good job of creating this template for your character, and it made it pretty easy to act. And if you got off track just a little bit, Dave Green, our director, would just nudge you along into the right place.
And what surprised me was how much you actually care about Wile E. Coyote and his plight by the end. Why do you think we root for this guy after all these years?
I mean, God, he's the classic underdog. He's a character that gets up every single day and try again. And even when it's not the result that he wants, and he goes home battered and bruised, he gets up again the following day and he tries again. And I think that that's just that character, someone who's that tenacious and focused and so steadfast in his goal. Like, I think that's very, very inspiring. And for me, I think that, like, I mean, even with the poster, like he's pushing up this big bomb, and it's gonna fall, I'm assuming, and he's probably gonna keep pushing it up the hill. And I think that's a beautiful message for people to hear. And for me, honestly, I'm pretty proud to be a part of a movie that champions their main character, Wile E. Coyote, as someone who will get up and try again, even in the face of adversity.
And there's plenty here for longtime Looney Tunes fans. It doesn't have to or just completely depend on nostalgia. How important was it that it worked for also a new audience?
I think it was really important that it worked for a new audience, for sure. I mean, I can speak for me, my parents introduced me to Looney Tunes, but it wasn't a major fixture in my own personal life as growing up as a child. So my real true love for Looney Tunes, it started doing this movie and is now. And I really, really think that something that I love the most about this movie is if you've never even seen a Looney Tunes cartoon in your life, you can watch this film and you will fall in love with the world. So I definitely think that it's very important to try and create a film that's obviously for the diehard fans that have loved this and has been a huge part of their lives. But I also think it's very important to create a film that anyone can go to.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little extra level of nostalgic sweetness if you do know the Looney Tunes, but the story is just so solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Lord of the Rings before I watched that, and I loved it.
There you
I
go.
like Harry Potter,
Absolutely. And we got to give a little love to the New Mexico filmmakers out here. So much was shot here. It's based in New Mexico in Albuquerque. This isn't the first time you've shot a movie out here. You did MacGruber out here as well. What do you remember most about making the movie in Albuquerque and some of the uphill battle you guys went through to try to make this film?
Well, you know what? Albuquerque has a very special place in my heart. I made the MacGruber movie here, Beer Fest I was in out here, MacGruber TV series, and then Coyote versus Acme. And I got married in Albuquerque. We got married during the shooting of MacGruber, so it holds a very special place in my heart, and I just have such fond feelings. Love everything about it. So beautiful.
Great food, great people, great
those
crews.
Green chilies. Oh, I can't get enough of them. Those hatch chilies, right? Anyway, the roller coaster ride that happened to this, a very emotional roller coaster ride. We had completed the movie. They did the post-production process. It's testing really well. And then Warner Brothers comes in and just says, nope, we're going to just throw this movie in the garbage can. Nobody's going to ever see it. And we're going to take a tax write-off. And we hadn't seen the movie yet. So when we saw it for the first time a week after that decision, it was mind-boggling. I had gone in thinking, oh, this has got to suck, right? Because why else would they be doing this? And then I see this very special, incredible, funny, and emotionally resonant movie. I was so frustrated that I didn't get to share this beautiful movie with my kids. And it just was this horrible feeling. And then we were forced to kind of move on from it because there was nothing we could do. But as we were moving on and trying to get other work, a bunch of people made a bunch of noise about it. They wouldn't stop making their voices be heard. And eventually Warner Brothers had to take note. And they eventually, I think, just got sick of all these people saying stuff. So they sold it to Catch Up Entertainment. And it's just great because this, and now it's coming out in movies because of these people. And it's so great because the on-screen story is about an underdog taking out a big corporation. And the off-screen story is the same thing. It's all these underdogs who banded together to make their voices heard. And because of them, they took on this corporation and beat them.
Will, Lana, I really want to thank you two for joining me. Coyote versus Acme hits theater August 28th. It's a blast. I definitely say you should check it out. Thank you two for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
If you spoil your pets like they're a part of your family, you're definitely not alone. More than 2,000 new pet products are debuting at Super Zoo in Las Vegas with everything from smart technology to wellness and nutrition. Pet trend expert Svetlana Bisacquino is live from the show floor with a look at what's new. Svetlana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Svetlana, you're right in the middle of Super Zoo. What's happening there this year?
Well, it is our last day, but as you can see, the energy is high, and we are North America's largest, most attended pet retail industry event. So if you can believe it, right now I am surrounded by over 6 football fields worth of products, and more than 1,000 of those are totally new, debuting only here before they hit the stores. So this is really where the whole industry comes to see what is next in pet care.
And what are some of the biggest trends you're seeing in pet products right now?
Well, this year I've seen quite a shift, and I don't want to make the dog owners mad, but the cats really are stealing the spotlight this time. We have so many new products for everything from functional nutrition, like these Charlie Bear meal toppers. They can help with hydration and digestion and even aging. And then on the mental enrichment side, that's really growing with brands like Trixie, who can take your cat from zen to zoomies in no time. I love their lick and play flavored balls. And Giddy Kitty is a great brand for this too. They make products like this flower-shaped treat dispenser. All of these products are perfect for reducing anxiety and also satisfying those natural hunting instincts.
And how are these new trends changing the way we take care of our pets every day?
Well, lately I've noticed how pet owners are starting to apply the same standards that they hold their own products to what they buy for their pets. So for example, connected monitoring and AI health. We have new devices on the show floor like the TalkTale, a smart wearable health monitor, just like our Apple Watch or our Fitbit. It will send you alerts if it sees any unusual behavior. And I've even seen Mung AI, devices like this that are camera robots. Those will flag risks for you, like prolonged inactivity or escaping or even fighting among pets. And it will then dispense treats or calming scents to diffuse those situations.
And there are a lot of new products out there. Besides the fun ones you just mentioned, are there one or two that you maybe can't stop talking about?
Well, I and everyone at the show have really been loving this Pet Vet First Aid Kit. This won our Travel and Safety Award. It has 125 products, including a vet guidebook, a first aid guidebook, and a mini version of that for on the go. But it has products like beef-flavored charcoal if they eat something poisonous, or even a wound wash and hydrogel to seal up the wound. Everything in there for dogs and cats, and a few products for birds and bunnies too.
And where can people go to learn more information?
You can learn more and check when these products are coming to your store at superzoo.org, and we're on all of the major social channels.
Svetlana Bisacquino, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
You finally leave your teenage years behind, but your acne apparently didn't get the memo. Nearly half of young adults still deal with breakouts, and constantly switching products can make skincare feel even more confusing. Board-certified dermatologist Dr. Heather Woolery-Lloyd joins us with some help, including what a new over-the-counter acne treatment could mean. Welcome to the show, Heather.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So why does acne stick around for so many people?
Well, acne, sometimes people think of it as a condition that's only in teenagers, but actually in my practice, I see so many adults, men and women, but particularly women. And the reason that is because one of the factors that drives acne are hormones. That's why we see teenagers with acne. They have a lot of hormonal changes. But in women, we also have hormonal changes, and that can lead to adult acne. So I'll have women who had acne as a teenager and it never went away. I'll have women who will say, I didn't have acne as a teenager, and now I'm dealing with pimples in my 30s and 40s. So it's something I commonly see in my practice all the time.
And what mistakes do people commonly make when treating breakouts on their own?
Probably the two biggest mistakes are being impatient and using too many products. So people will first start with a product and say, oh, after a couple weeks that didn't work, and they'll switch to another one and switch to another one. And that can be useless in a way because you're not giving the product time to do its actual job. And then the second mistake is when people are using too many products. So I'll have patients come in with a bag full of products, 4, 5, 6 different products that they're using for their acne. And that, of course, can lead to irritation, and your skin can't heal if it's irritated. So it's really important to be patient and stick to a simple routine that you can consistently use long term.
And as you just mentioned, why do so many of us keep switching from one acne product to another?
Well, I think that when you have acne, and I know because I used to have adult acne, when you have acne, you want it better yesterday, right? You know, no one wants to have pimples, you have important meetings, you have public-facing jobs, and no one really wants to have acne on their face. So I understand why people are impatient, but it really does take time for acne treatments to work. So different epiduo, which we're going to talk about today, some people can see results in as little as a week, but most people need to use the product for 90 days to see the best results. So it's so important to be patient and to be consistent.
And a prescription strength treatment is now available over the counter. Why is that such a big change?
So that's a big change because this product, Different Epiduo, is something that I used to write prescriptions for, and now it's available over the counter. And it's the most effective acne treatment approved by the FDA for over-the-counter use. So this is exciting news. It contains 2 ingredients. It contains 2 acne-fighting ingredients, so benzoyl peroxide, which kills acne-causing bacteria, and it also contains adapalene, which is a retinoid that we use in acne. And it's exciting for me because it improves access. So as I mentioned, I write prescriptions for this before it became over the counter. And if someone's insurance didn't cover it, now you can get it over the counter. And for people who don't have access to a dermatologist, they can now get a dermatologist-backed acne treatment over the counter.
And what does a simple, consistent acne routine look like?
So you first have to figure out whether you're a morning person or a night person. Some people like to do their skincare in the morning. Others like to do it at night. So if you like to do skincare in the morning, it's very simple. So you need a gentle cleanser. Then step 2 would be the Different Epiduo. And I always say less is more. So you use a small pea-sized amount. And I usually show my patients on my finger a small little pea-sized amount to the full face. And then in the morning, you'd apply a moisturizer with sunscreen. But if you're one of those people who likes to do your skincare at night, it's also really simple, 3 steps. So you would cleanse, apply the different Epiduo, and a moisturizer last. So whether you do it in the morning or at night, it's just once a day. It's just when you choose to do it. And it's very simple, just 3 simple steps.
And who is this new over-the-counter option best for?
So it's best for people 12 years of age and older who have mild to moderate acne. So they have pimples, blackheads, whiteheads. It's great for people who want a simple, straightforward routine that, works well, because as I mentioned, acne doesn't need to be complicated. It actually works best when you have a simple, straightforward routine that you can be consistent with. So that is really the perfect person who wants something straightforward, simple, easy to do one pump once daily, and you'll see really great results. You just have to be patient.
And where can people go to learn more information?
So you can get different Epiduo at your local stores. So CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Target. You can get it online at Amazon. And if you want to learn more, you can go to different.com.
Heather, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thank you so much.
Running a small business takes more than having a great product. New research finds 75% of owners feel good about the future, but everyday things like expenses, cash flow, and paperwork can get in the way of that growth. Katie Roering knows that firsthand as founder of Fontana Candle Company, and Dr. Shena Ashley leads the Capital One Insight Center. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Hi, thanks for having us.
So, Katie, tell me, how did the behind-the-scenes work of running your business become such a challenge to your growth?
So in the early days, Fontana was a hobby that we started in 2018 out of our home. On the evenings and the weekends, we would be pouring candles in our basement and then trying to find time to do all the other tasks like marketing, finance, raw material purchasing. There really was just not enough time in the day to do everything that needs to be done. We've continued to grow and scale. We have about 30 people on staff, so we're building out our teams to do manufacturing, fulfillment, to do our accounting, to do purchasing, but there still just is not enough time in the day to do everything that we need to do.
And you're also using rewards as more than just perks. How do things like cashback, card rewards, and access to credit help you reinvest in the business?
So we very much put our rewards points to work. Our local accountant every year at tax season, when he sees how many points we redeemed, he is just flabbergasted. We use more than any of his local clients. Lately, we've been using them for marketing. So we used it to purchase a 300-pound replica of our best-selling candle, Cinnamon Orange Clove. And then we redeemed more points to help sponsor the Lancaster County Make-A-Wish truck convoy. So we put that big candle in our truck and drove it down the freeway, and 25,000 people, including the Make-A-Wish kids, got to enjoy it. So we're using it to add fuel to the business, but also to give back to the community.
That's absolutely wonderful to hear. And Shena, how are integrated financial tools making everyday operations easier for small business owners?
It's very important, as you just heard in the story from Katie and her company's success as a growing business. 75% of small business owners to our survey said that they are confident about growth, but often they find back office friction to be a barrier to that growth. We found in the study that with integrated financial tools, however, they're able to break through some of that back office friction. 51% of those small business owners said that these financial tools are helping them reclaim that precious time back so they can pour more into their business's growth and less time spent on paperwork.
And how important is access to credit for a growing business, and what can happen when that access is disrupted?
It is essential. I love Katie saying that it is fuel. I think that is so clear from our survey from all small business owners. 67% of small business owners said that credit cards are important for managing their day-to-day expenses. 77% said that access to credit is key to building the financial resilience and the growth of their businesses. And what we know was that from the study, they said if that access to credit was removed, it would force them to make really tough decisions about the future growth of their business and even how much they employ people in the local community. 31% said that they'd have to rely more on personal finances. 27% said they'd be forced to go back to alternative forms of lending, things that might be much more expensive. 25% said that they would have to reduce their services. And so we don't want businesses to have to cut back when they see potential and optimism for growth. We want them to have the tools and resources that it takes to be able to take advantage of that growth.
And Katie, if another small business owner remembers just one thing from your experience about using credit and rewards to grow, what should it be?
I would say credit is a positive growth tool. It really is the fuel to our fire. We're growing rapidly, and we used all the tools that we have available to us. So we used our Spark rewards points. We've used lines of credit from our local bank. We've used SBA loans. So those tools are out there, and when used properly, they can just catapult your business growth.
And Shena, where can people go to learn more information?
Yes, please find us, Capital One Insight Center on our website. You may be able to find this study and all other studies.
Shena, Katie, thank you both for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Back to school season is officially here, and getting kids ready takes a lot more than a new backpack and school supplies. The right technology and a few simple routines can help make the transition a lot easier. Mom, lifestyle expert, and author Meaghan B. Murphy has some ideas to help families start the school year strong. Welcome to the show, Meaghan.
Thank you for having me.
So technology is on almost every back-to-school list. What should parents look for when choosing a laptop this year?
So laptop used to be a luxury, and now it really is like an everyday learning essential. So you want a nice price for a premium product, and the Dell XPS 13 delivers. It is the thinnest and lightest XPS ever made, just 2.2 pounds, powered by Intel Core Series 3 processors. So you're getting 17 hours of battery life, touchscreen display, backlit keyboard. It really goes anywhere. And right now, for students ages 16 plus, great deal, $599 at Dell.com.
And what's one simple thing parents can do before the first day to make mornings easier?
So I always say this, you're not going to open a Broadway show without a rehearsal. Don't open the first day of school without a dry run. So a week before, even days before, if that's all you can spare, get into the routine. Get up at school time, have breakfast, get dressed, get out the door as if it were the real deal. That's going to help reset some of those sleep routines and kind of troubleshoot any of those pain points. I mean, I know my teenagers have been sleeping till noon. It's going to be a real rude awakening in a couple weeks.
And what everyday routines can make a difference during the school year?
So we created a family fill-up hydration station, which has been really fun. It almost feels like a water cooler at work. Everyone's coming together in the kitchen. We have the M6CG water drop filtration system. It's a countertop system that uses reverse osmosis filtration to provide purified water, hot or cold, while adding essential minerals for a smoother, more balanced taste. My kids are filling up their water bottles. My daughter's making her matcha. The boys think they're very independent when they make their instant oatmeal. And it's very compact, so it doesn't have any installation. You can remove the pitcher, so I'll use that at the dinner table. And good in an apartment, good in a dorm, good in a home office. They also have a glass pitcher that just is in the refrigerator that you can use. And all of this is at waterdropfilter.com.
And what's your best tip for getting kids out the door on time without all the morning chaos?
So this has been my mom hack. I reverse engineer the routine. So if I know everyone has to be out the door at 7:40, I also know that means shoes and backpacks on by 7:30, breakfast 7:15, up and dressed at 7, and then I give my kids those checkpoints. Because saying to a kid, hurry up is meaningless. Telling a kid we're running late is meaningless if you don't have these checkpoints. So you can say 7:30, your shoes aren't on, and your kid can then empower themselves to put their shoes on and take control of those checkpoints. But a random we're late means nothing.
And where can people go for more information?
So you can go to Dell.com, waterdropfilter.com, and you can find out more about me at MeaghanBMurphy.com.
Meaghan B. Murphy, you're a hero. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Dallas Download. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with us. Be sure to follow us on social media for even more fun between episodes, and join us again next week for another edition of the Dallas Download.